Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the BoxHard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
It's the monster from the swamps, Regis Prograis.
Hey, what's up? This is King Carlos Molina, former IBF world champ.
This is Michael, the Bounty Hunter, 2012 Olympian and your people's champ.
This is Charlie Edwards, flyweight champion of the world.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 185 of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host Joey Coastman. I'm joined this week by the former WBO Super-Featherweight champion of the world. It is of course Mr. Barry Jones. Barry, thanks for coming on the show, my friend.
No, it's nice to be back on, Joe. It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, it has been a long time, actually, Barry. It's a pleasure, like I say, doing the show with you once again this week. I'm going to dive straight into the review part of the show. We're going to try to go through things quite quickly. I'm going to start here at the Fantasy Springs Casino in California, USA. Couple fights to mention. Topping the bill, a Canadian guy by the name of Yves Ulysse Jr. 17-1 going into this fight. The one loss actually came to a guy called Steve Claggett on points. It was really close, and I said it on last week's show that Yves Ulysse, straight after that fight, he was furious with the decision. He wanted to fight as soon as possible, and he actually took on Cletus Seldin. I think Cletus Seldin was about 23-0 at the time, a big puncher, and Yves Ulysse completely schooled him and dropped him a bunch of times along the way to the decision. So a good fighter, Ulysse. He was actually able to avenge his defeat here to Steve Claggett, a unanimous decision over 10 rounds, so he kind of wipes his slate clean there, 18-1. Steve Claggett, though, 27-6 with 2 draws. Also, another rematch on the undercard there. Oscar Negrete, 18-1 with 1 draw. He took on Josh Franco, a prospect, 14-1 with 1 draw. In their very last fight, they both fought to a split draw, I believe it was. It was a close fight once again here. Ended up being a split decision, this time in favour of Franco. There was some real weird scorecards. I think one judge had it 7 rounds to 3 over 10 rounds, and the other judge had it 8 rounds to 2 the complete other way. So very mysterious, but that one was for the NABF Bantamweight title and the vacant WBA International Bantamweight title. I just want to quickly visit Australia real quick at the Entertainment Centre in New South Wales. Return to the ring of former world champion Billy Dibb. He's been out, I believe, for 8 months. He said he retired, but he was back here. A first round knockout for him against an overmatched opponent, really. Billy Dibb now 44-5. Also Luke Jackson, former opponent of Carl Frampton, he returned there with a knockout in round 3 against another overmatched opponent, 18-1 now, Luke Jackson. Moving to York Hall, I just want to quickly go here for a second. Chantel Cameron, a good win for her. She seems to be improving under Jamie Moore, actually. 9-0 now, a knockout in the second round against a lady who was 7-3, Farish Mashauri, I think it's said. And topping that bill, I think his name's Siar Ozgur. I've seen him fight a couple of times at York Hall before. I remember he was 14-0. He got beat by Mikey Saki for the Southern Area title in a real dramatic fight, and he took on Victor Postel on an undercard in Scotland, I believe it was, and unbelievably he went the distance with Postel, even though he got stopped by Mikey Saki, who only had a record of 5-2. But credit to him for going the distance with Postel. But in this fight here, he actually took on a guy who was 9-1 called Sam Antwi for the Southern Area welterweight title. It was vacant. Antwi actually came in over the championship limit, so the title was only on the line for Osgood, but he got upset on points over 10 rounds there. So bad stuff there for Osgood. Did the Postel beating take something out of him, perhaps? But moving out now stateside to the Forum in Inglewood, California, USA. Let's start here with Anthony Sims Jr. He got a win over Devon's brother, Vaughan Alexander, who's now 14-3. A unanimous decision there over 10 for Anthony Sims Jr. Jesse Vargas was able to beat the crafty little fox Humberto Soto. He was looking for win number 70. Boy, oh boy, 69-10 now his record, Soto, with the 2 draws, a knockout in round 6. Vargas just had too much really for Soto at this point of his career, I believe. Vargas got the knockout, like I say. A lot of people thought he would probably go the distance. He's a tough guy, Soto, but like I say, Vargas a few levels above him at this stage. Vargas actually had his eye cut in the second round, by the way, and Soto was down in round 6 and he was stopped on his feet, so a little bit of credit to him. Vargas now 29-2 with 2 draws. Danny Roman against TJ Doheny. Did you catch any of that one, Barry? Good fight.
Yeah, I did actually, yeah. And I think Roman is a guy who gets massively underrated and sort of goes into the radar a lot, and I don't know why, because he's a real tough competitor and a hard man to beat. And even though Doheny is not a surprise world champion, but he come from nowhere to win the world title. He showed he had plenty of skill and tenacity himself, but just came up a guy with maybe a bit more experience and knowledge, ring knowledge than him on the night. But in a good fight and a good bill, actually, let's be honest.
Yeah, it was. I agree 100%. It was a unification there for the IBF and WBA Super World Bantamweight titles. Doheny was down in the second round, and he was also down in round 11. And Roman, of course, he was cut with an accidental head clash in round 10. But no, a good fight, a really good fight. It's the fights that we want to see. It was a unification. We went to the prediction league last week. I think I'll sum all that up at the end of the show. Actually, with Saxel Wangek, also known as Saw Rungvisai. 47-4 with 1 draw going in. It was a rematch again. Juan Francisco Estrada, 38-3. Redemption time for Estrada. He was able to win unanimously over 12 rounds. He takes away the WBC World Super-Flyweight title from Wangek. Another good fight, though, just like the first one. This guy Estrada, Barry, perhaps he doesn't really get the plaudits of some of the other names in that division. You had the likes of Chocolatito that you was really high on, of course, before the 2 back-to-back fights were Rungvisai. But, yeah, a guy that perhaps doesn't get the plaudits, but he's right up there with the best.
No, he really is. World champion a few times, and obviously, I think the problem you have is when you've got Chocolatino in your weight, you get overshadowed dramatically in your career, and that can happen. I think that's what's happened with him. But now, he's beat the man who he couldn't beat, and I think, So he, again, another guy who I think might be on not the tail end, but coming to the end of a pretty accomplished career. But in this day and age now, you think a guy, or maybe past his best, or age is catching up with him, but you just can't see. It's a weird climate now, isn't it, with the way athletes look after themselves, that age just means nothing almost. And you just think, they got to be, when they get on, they've got a long career or a hard career, that maybe they just, the appetite, like we've seen with Khan the other week, maybe the appetite to want to go that extra mile might not be there. But you just can't take that for granted anymore. You really can't.
There was a freak fight the other week. I really can't remember the guys' names, Barry. I'm sure you probably missed this, but there was a guy, and unbelievably this fight got sanctioned. A guy was 63. He took on a guy who was 23 years old, and I think the 63-year-old knocked him out in about a round. It was really bizarre. It was one of the weirdest things I've seen. But moving over now to Wembley Arena, Barry, you were there. I want to start with the undercard here. We got to see Archie Sharp progressed to 15-0. There was a bit of interest really with this one because Sergio Gonzalez in his last fight had took on Leon Woodstock. I think he got put down in the final round, but he was able to survive it. And Archie Sharp, he wanted to make a statement. He did, a second round knockout. I haven't seen any of it, so please tell me what you did see.
It was meant to be just a typical keep busy fight, and he looked quite sharp, and his name's Sharp, but he's sharp by nature as well. So he dances around a lot, constant movement, throws snappy punches. But yeah, it was just a fantastic body shot, and I just think he's showing now that maturity. What is he, 24 now? I think maybe Sharp, and he's just showing that maturity and getting a bit of man strength all of a sudden now, and I think that Woodstock win for him was what really, gave him that confidence. He was always a cocky, confident kid, but I think to act confident and to actually be confident are sometimes two different things. And he really is a kid who's just full of it now. Like he just totally believes that he's just destined for a world title. Whether he will, who knows? Domestically this division's hard enough. But I think he's put himself in there and above, on maybe top of the list of contenders there for maybe Sam Bowen. I think in that sort of stable. And that's I'm surely that's the fight to be looking for, because you think Sam Bowen, he can punch and he's strong and takes a good shot. He's not the hardest target to find, and with Sharp's movement and a bit of the weight and a bit of nastiness he's got in spite he has in the punches now. I think he can give him a real good go if not beat him, to be honest. So yeah, I think he's been a bit of a surprise for us, Archie Sharp. Not for him, of course, because he thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread anyway, which is not a bad thing to believe. But I think for the rest of us, we thought he was good, but now we actually show him to be maybe a bit more quality in his work than we gave him credit for.
Yeah, for sure. A fighter that I remember watching him when he was about 3-0, something like that, and he just stood out to me. It was on an undercard in York Hall on a Thursday night or something, and I just thought, you know what, I like the look of him, and we became we are pretty good friends, and it's good to see him progress this far. He's looking really good, ticking all the boxes. Moving up the card though, we got to see Hamza Shiraz, another quick knockout, not as quick as the last one, which came in about a minute, but yeah, he was able to TKO Ladislav Nemeth in the second round. 8-0 now, Shiraz. Umar Sadiq returned. It's good to see him rack up a win, obviously, after the loss to Zach Chelly. His record now 5-1. A retirement after 2 rounds. His opponent didn't want to come out for round 3. Jack Catterall, a tick-over fight for him, obviously. Seems like he's waiting on Maurice Hooker. We'll be speaking to Regis Prograis later on in the show. Perhaps we'll ask him about that one. Jack Catterall, 24-0. Same record actually as Prograis, but a knockout here in round 3 against Oscar Amador, a guy that we've seen a couple of times over here, I believe. 10-18 now, Amador. Zach Chelly, he moved to 7-0. It went to the final. Well, it went the distance, is what I'm trying to say. A points win there over 10 for the vacant Southern Area super middleweight title. Jimmy Smith 7-2. A few people were kind of looking at Smith at the public workout the other day in Brent Cross Shopping Centre. He was doing the pads. His trainer was holding up these floats, Barry. Literally like floats for swimming. Have you ever used something like that before?
No, but they weren't around then. I think they use quite often now, those skinny offside things. I think they use them for reflexes. I think at speed. The pads were relatively new when I was an amateur. To be honest, a lot of boxers never use pads. They were quite a new thing. Sort of really introduced in the 80s sort of thing. So all those floats they use, those little paddle things, and it's all brand new stuff for touching. But I don't know how effective it is. But I said, even the back like Smith. No, I think the first round I just nicked it to Smith. I thought he sat back and Chelly tries to so hard to impress and try and knock everyone out all the time, that he sometimes makes plenty of mistakes and falls short and gets tagged a little bit. And luckily Smith's not a big puncher, but I think Smith had the right tactic in the first round. The only thing that happened in that fight was Chelly adapted and Smith never. He kept sticking to that same plan of sitting back and waiting, but then Chelly wasn't jumping in too often as the rounds went on. And most important for Chelly moving forward, because he's only 21 years of age, is that from round 5 on, he was better than he was in the first 5 rounds. So he adapted. He showed good maturity in his work, as well as a good fitness level and a good tempo to the fight. So I think I was speaking to his manager Joe Pyle, and I said he needs to look at the last 5 rounds of that fight and say that's how I box, not the first 5 rounds where we're trying to go in and trying to knock everyone's head off. Because he's a bit like Chris Eubank Jr., but he's not a big puncher. I mean, he can punch and he's snappy with his punches, but he's not a KO artist. But he thinks he is, and that's what needs to get out of his head. But when you think Chris Eubank Jr. throw punches, you go, whoa, they look really horrible. But actually, his opponents never really fall down from him, do they? They just rattles him off because he's on the balls of his feet when he's throwing them, so he's not sitting down on the shots. But they look sharp and impressive. And Chelly's a bit like that, not the same as Eubank Jr. in style-wise, but that's how his punches look. He looks like he should be a banger, but he's not. So if he looks at the last 5 rounds of that fight and thinks that's his blueprint, how to win a fight, I think that's the way forward for him. When he's moving around a lot, looking for angles, feinting, working behind the jab rather than jumping in too far out of distance, and not loading up. I think that's important for him. And he will get stoppages in, I think, as his career progresses. And he's a young kid. I think you've got to hold him back a bit. They all want to get to they all want to be like Lomachenko's now and be world champion in single figure fights. But that's for special talent. So you just go about your business, hold him back as long as you can. I would keep him at the area level for another 8 months, and I wouldn't go near the British title until the end of next year if they can hold him back that long.
Yeah, I mean, I think the win over Sadiq, I think that fight, they kind of both got matched pretty early, the pair of them. I thought it was a little bit too soon to throw them both in, but he looked great there, didn't he, at the Brentwood Centre?
Yeah. I do understand what you're saying like that, but I don't think it is too soon to chuck him in because it doesn't affect your life. Like, I boxed a kid called Neil Swain, like my 5th fight, roughly, or maybe my 6th. Then it'd be like his 5th fight or 4th fight. And we were both undefeated, 2 kids from Wales. And I beat Neil. And it was a close fight, it was a hard fight. Why wouldn't it be 2 undefeated kids from Wales? It's that local derby-ish from South Wales. And I won the fight. But Neil went on to win a title before me. Neil went on to win the Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title. So he won a championship before I did. So it didn't affect his career at all. Mm. And it didn't affect mine. It gave me the confidence that I could compete at a high level then. At a competitive level rather than fight those nobodies or junior people to come to survive. I had a few of those as well, but I think don't be afraid to lose. And I think hopefully the climate's changing because it started in the 90s where being undefeated was more important than actually having a proper apprenticeship. Rather than forming a proper fighter, a loss is a loss. Don't mean you're a bad fighter. And you either, the style was wrong against you, or you had an off night, you got caught with a shot. Don't mean you can't go on to win a world title to be a success or be one of the best fighters. But they saw this. Don't lose. I think that's not always the right way to form a quality fighter. If you're looking to be the best fighter you can be, you have to have those right tests in your career, I think.
No, fair enough. I mean, you know it more than I do, Barry. Moving up the card once again, Sonny Edwards. He fought for the WBO European Super-Flyweight title. I think it was a defence actually against Pedro Matos. Only 7-1, only the one loss. But yeah, Edwards looked really good. A few people were critical about him in the later rounds where he seemed to take a few shots himself, but other than that, I mean, he looked spectacular for the most part of it, and another dominant win for him, a TKO there in round 8. I think he can go all the way, to be honest with you, Barry, if I have to say so.
Well, he looks everything but a star, doesn't he? I think he drops his hands, those are things that he sort of would say not to do. A lot of things that you sort of that can sort of turn you off a fighter because it looks like a bit of arrogance. But he's just a real natural talent, a bit of a maverick. I think half the time he's not sure what he's going to do until he gets in there, and he's not the biggest of punchers. So I sort of said some of the things he does are like Nazim's-esque type of stuff, but he hasn't got that natural raw power of a Naz. But his movement and his judgment of distance is absolutely fantastic, and I think the way he switches in on tag, he does things that you shouldn't do, but gets away with it. More than gets away with it, you admire it. Where you criticise other fighters for doing it, you sort of praise him for how he's got away with it. And so I think he's a bit of a maverick guy. And a lot of those maverick guys, they look brilliant, and they end up getting tagged or something like happens like that, and sometimes they unravel. Or they just go on to be, as Naz was, or Harold Graham. But Harold Graham is a perfect example. He was an absolute maverick. Kirk and Lang, absolute maverick. But then when they get caught or when they lose, they really do lose. It's no two ways about it. But Sonny Edwards to me looks in this day and age, he looks every bit of a world champion in the making to me. He really does. And I think as he gets older, and I think he's going to move up in weight, I think he starts producing more power in his shots as well.
Yeah, I think he's got an incredibly bright future. You mentioned there about these excellent boxers with all the promise, with all the potential, the flashiness, the reflexes, stuff like that. He did actually show a little bit of vulnerability, didn't he? I think in his fight before this one, he got put down, didn't he, at the Brentwood Centre, was it? and he got up to dominate.
He did, yeah.
He got up to dominate, but he's still young, like we say. Moving up once again, Daniel Dubois against Richard Lartey. I've got to say, Richard Lartey literally turned up. I think, was it on the Friday, he turned up from Ghana at the airport after various visa issues. I didn't think he was going to put up much of a test, really, but he arguably gave Dubois quite a few questions to answer. There was a few moments where they were just completely swinging it out. Any punch could have landed anywhere and it could have just ended the fight right there. A few shaky moments. I don't think Frank Warren was watching on, feeling most comfortable. But yeah, good win. Exciting while it lasted. A few fireworks, like I say. 11-0 now, Dubois. But Lartey was a tough guy. He took some licks and he gave some himself, actually, Barry. So we're not saying that's a bad opponent. That's what we want to see, really, from some of these guys.
Well, it is, because for the first time he hit the guy who never pulled his pants. You know what I mean? The guy didn't shit himself and he got caught. The guy fired back, and that's not the first time. I mean, a big guy his same size, he fired back and didn't look to survive. And also, he caught. He was happy to throw with Dubois, and it was nice to see Dubois, in his errors. He shouldn't have been throwing that close to the target. He should have kept it nice and long behind the jab. Everything should have been straight punches with Dubois. But it's nice to show that he has that. He's such a relaxed character and doesn't really show much emotion. And he sort of looks a little bit, I wouldn't say docile, but I just said it, so it's too late. But, he has that sort of demeanour about him, but actually he shows a little bit of, come on then, let's have it then. He has a bit of that, I almost like throw the gloves off and go, come on, let's go for it then. And that's sort of like what it's nice to see, especially for a big guy, to go, they can bite down and really go, I want to have a fight with you now. Come on, let's see this was you the toughest. And you don't want to see that too many times, because that's how you can get put to sleep that week. But to know it's in the locker when you need it, it's another box ticked that we've seen. So yeah, it's pretty good. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think it'll do his confidence a world of good. I think it does his markability quite a step up, and also that potential, if it happens now, that fight with Joe Joyce where real fancy, I've just come against a big guy who wanted to fight with me, and I fought back and took a few shots and gave it to him, and it showed that Joyce, that listen, even if I hit him, I keep throwing back, but also it shows that if he stands with me, I can hit him, and a slight vulnerability, which we all love, makes him slightly more exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And Lerone Richards proceeded to 12-0. He also picks up the vacant Commonwealth Super Middleweight title and the vacant WBO International against Tommy Langford, former British champion, 21-3. Both men friends of the show. A unanimous decision over 12 rounds. I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit, Barry, when you said that Lerone has got this, what's the word I'm looking for? This kind of style where he can... What was the word you said? You kind of said that he nullifies what the other guy does. I think you hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah. I think I can't remember what the words I use now. I make them up as I go along, but I think that's his style. This is his style. He just moves around, he takes whatever you got, and then he goes to work. And that's not a bad thing, but it can be frustrating to watch because you can do more. That's what also, because you see Alan Smith in the corner. We said, "Come on, put it on him a bit now, because it's there for you." It was there for him, but his whole demeanour, his whole mentality is negate your work, just negate what you can do. Take all your tools away from you, so you're missing, you're frustrated, you make mistakes, and then he makes you pay for it. But that takes a long process. So it takes the rounds where you have to make him miss all the time and just tap him, and that's what he does, Lerone, and he's brilliant at it actually. But to sell yourself, sometimes you just got to up the gears a little bit, and I think he's in it to do it. And when he did start to get a little bit of flow to his work, he looked a much better fighter. So it's that getting that right mentality. And I say this because I was the same as Lerone. Maybe it's naturally gifted, but I was a guy who, if you threw a jab, I'd make you miss. I could too, and that's how he sort of works. But it's a mental state of mind you've got to get yourself out of, and you've got to be a little bit more proactive. Because when you're clever, you can be clever coming forward, or clever, or you haven't got come forward. You can see Shakur Stevenson did the other weekend. He was the guy doing all the work, moving back. He wasn't moving forward. He'd make the guy come at him, but he was the guy leading off first. He was the guy throwing all the shots, and he wasn't really taking forward steps. And so you don't have to be the guy plowing forward, but you have to be the guy leading and throwing first and forcing the guy to make mistakes, but making sure he pays for it. And sometimes you have to throw to make them throw and then throw back again. So getting the right balance right to sell yourself and keep everyone happy is what's going to be important for Lerone if he really wants to get to that level of earning the big bucks. But he's a talent and a natural talent, so they'd be happy now that he's announced himself at a good level. He'd be a good guy in Tommy Langford, being a British perfect opponent in many ways, because maybe Tommy's not the fight he once was, and Tommy also struggled with the guy because Tommy's always been big for middleweight. Now he's up at super middleweight, he's boxing a guy who's massive for that weight as well, unfortunately for Tommy. So all the advantages Tommy's always had with a longer reach and being a taller guy and be able to dominate from distance, he didn't have that in this fight, and he had the boxer style, which is not really natural to him. That's come forward, and he struggled with it. And Lerone, it was just bread and butter for Lerone Richards, and I thought he boxed really well.
Yeah, I think Lerone is a real talent. I'm pleased for him because he's now got that name that I think he's been searching for a long time. He wanted, a name that we know in terms of the British public. I think he got that here. I know he wanted the Jermaine Smile fight a long time ago. It never came to fruition. A couple of things I want to say. I think that, it did seem like he didn't really leave it all in the ring. It seemed like he was coasting at times perhaps, and he seemed like he had a lot left in the tank at the end. You could see him between the rounds when he went back to his corner, he was barely breathing. He was so comfortable, but we do have to remember it was his first 12 rounder. Perhaps he was trying to save something there. He didn't want to tire late on, but you do get the feeling that if he did step on the gas, he could have perhaps closed the show. But yeah, we'll leave that there. We'll move out now stateside once again to the Cajun Dome in Lafayette, Louisiana, USA, the World Boxing Super Series card over here. Friend of the show, she was on last week. It was quite sad to see. It was the first fight on the telecast over here on Sky Sports. Selena Barrios, she was 5-0. That's the elder sister of undefeated prospect Mario Barrios. She stepped in against former WBC world champion Melissa Hernandez, who was actually coming off about 2.5 years out of the ring. 22-7 with 3 draws, and I tell you what, she returned and she looked amazing. Actually, she had 2.5 years out. She came in good shape. She was a switch hitter. She was, her head movement was unbelievable. Her footwork was crazy, and it was just too much for Selena. I think she probably lost every round. It was really uncomfortable to watch. She really got beaten up, actually. A lot of blood as well. It was really horrible to see. I spoke to her just briefly afterwards, and she's took it quite well. She's feeling positive about moving forward and stuff, so all the credit to Selena Barrios. But a brilliant win there for Melissa Hernandez. I think she's 39 years of age, and it's just incredible, that performance. I think she can still have a few big nights in boxing if she wants to. Moving up the card, Nonito Donaire picked up win number 40, the 4-weight world champion. He also defended his WBA Super World Bantamweight title and his WBC Diamond title against Stephen Young, a last-minute replacement. He put up a good effort, actually, Stephen Young. He went to the 6th round. He did get brutally knocked out by Nonito's signature left hook in that 6th round. But to be honest, everyone said before the fight, you look at his resume, no standout names. It was a last-minute replacement, like I say, and we didn't really expect him to have too much, but he actually did okay. I think he landed a few shots on Nonito in many rounds. Actually, he seemed to have quite a bit of success, so credit to him, but he obviously just wasn't good enough for Nonito Donaire, and actually Donaire probably picked up one of the best knockouts so far of 2019. Did you happen to see the stoppage, Barry?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I saw it all. Yeah, great shot again from Nonito, but and again, when he carries that power, and he knew he was getting caught with a few shots, I think he just lacked the respect, I think, of the other kid. I think from early on, he knew he was the better fighter at the time, and he felt the guy's power, wasn't worried about it. I just think he not quite bullied him, but he was happy to walk around and through and not worried too much what was coming back. And yeah, he sort of reinvented himself, hasn't he, Donaire? Really has. I know that he might have lost against Ryan Burnett, who knows, but that win sort of spurred him on back down at a weight where he gets, as long as he makes that weight safely, he has all those advantages that he didn't have at featherweight. He just thought the power was going to carry him through wherever he was, but yeah, he looks. I think he's got the final's going to be hard for him. You would guess. Anyway, that's the fight you tend to think he's going to beat Rodriguez. To be honest, you would fancy him to get another conclusive finish. And with a guy like him who can box as well as punch, it's hard to see how Donaire gets through that at this age. But again, like I said, he moves on the bantamweight. He seemed to reinvented himself, and he's always been a nice and relaxed character. You see him get into the ring Saturday night, so relaxed and confident, smiling, waving at people as he's walking into the arena. Just a guy who's been and done it at every level, and he carries no fear, I don't think, because he knows he has that equaliser of his own. So it'll be an interesting final, whoever he gets to face. But you tend to think that it's going to be Inoue who's going to be in the opposite corner.
Yeah, I have to agree. He's a classy gentleman as well, Nonito. You could see straight away the concern that he had for his opponent, Young. But yeah, I'm not going to go off in another direction, but I think that other semi-final is really intriguing, especially the way Rodriguez dealt with Paul Butler. He looked amazing, and he's obviously, a kind of guy that's going to box on the outside and use his size, which he's got that advantage over Inoue. It's going to be interesting. I think we perhaps could have seen the two style clashes when McDonnell fought Inoue, but he just couldn't get going. So I'm hoping that that Rodriguez is able to get going, and it'll be interesting. I think that one, by the way. Moving up to the main event here, Regis Prograis. Like I said, we won't really discuss this too much. He will be on the show a little bit later. His record 24-0 now. His 20th knockout, a TKO against Kiryl Relikh, a guy that had never been stopped. 23-2. It was, of course, for Relikh's WBA World title. Regis has finally got a belt. It's funny because in this 140 division, everyone would say the two best guys are Taylor and Prograis, and neither of them have actually got a belt. But now that one of them does, and of course Taylor gets his chance on May 18th. Impressive showing though from Prograis. He absolutely dominated his man, really.
He's another kid who's gone massively under the radar. Is this a show about fighters going under the radar? Because that's what it seems to be. But Prograis, Charles picks faults him. Thinks on his feet, power in every hand. Fast hands, fast feet. That little, real champion's arrogance where he thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread, and everything. He looks really good, and a world title's been overdue for him. That's what good he's been. Let's be honest. And I think Josh Taylor might be the most purest boxer of them all, but and one of my favourite fighters actually, Josh Taylor, but he'd be lacking in athleticism against Prograis, and that's going to be a problem for him. And that southpaw stance, that's obviously Taylor gets through Baranchyk first, which is a decent scrap for him, but you tend to think that if he's on form, he will. And it's the final that we all predicted. That's what we're heading for. We're one fight away from the final that all of us would have picked as a fan-friendly fight that we wanted. And also, the two guys probably have the most quality in their work. And it's good to see a tournament where you actually, you have got the two best fighters in that division without a title, as you've rightly said, which is crazy. Which just shows the absurdity of boxing, and the two best fighters in the world at a certain weight don't hold a version of the world title until the weekend when he just picked up his title. But before that, they were still the two best in the weight, and neither one held a alphabet belt. Which might be the sign of things to come, the way the climate's changing of the sport, where maybe these belts start having less significance as they go along. Who knows, eh?
The fight itself, like I say, Prograis was able to put Relikh down in the first round with a body shot. Quite impressive, actually. Relikh seemed to turn his back. It's like he didn't want to know. So that was good for Prograis. In the second round, he just started busting Relikh up, really. He really bloodied up his nose. And then, obviously, Relikh hit him with that punch after the bell, which was a bit naughty. But aside from that, Prograis put on a punch-perfect performance. His head movement, his elusiveness to get away from shots was really impressive. And like I say, in that sixth round, he started to find a home for his shots with both hands, and in came the towel from Relikh's corner. Pure domination, but for me, I think Relikh can come again. Like I say, finally a real world title for Regis, who, like we say, is arguably the best, him and Taylor in that division. One of them's now finally got a title. we will be speaking to Regis once again, like I say, later on in the show. And the final bill to mention of the review part at the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas in Nevada, USA. I've got to say, I didn't actually watch any of this card. I'm just going to fly through the results. Efia Jagba, the Nigerian heavyweight that's looking really good right now, he was able to stop in 2 rounds Michael Wallish, who was actually coming off a loss. He was 19-0, and he lost to Christian Hammer last time out. I think it was in about 6 rounds. Jagba's done it in 2. He looks really good once again. Victor Postel picked up a win against Mohamed Mimoun, a guy that we've seen beat Sam Eggington for the European title. Mimoun now 21-3, Postel 31-2. That one was a unanimous decision over 10 rounds. And top of the bill, Robert Easter Jr. against Rancis Barthélemy, 2 former world champions. It was for the IBO world title and the WBA World Lightweight title. A split draw over 12 rounds. Not a good fight from what I've heard. Like I said, I haven't seen much of it, but I've heard that they literally landed something like, I think it was something crazy, like they landed about 60 shots over the whole fight, which is insane. 21-1 with 1 draw, Robert Easter now, and Barthélemy 27-1 with 1 draw. If you haven't seen anything of that, Bill, Barry, then we'll just end part 1 right there. If you have, then have your say.
No, I didn't, mate. Sorry, I missed that.
No worries. Doesn't seem like there was too much to watch over there, to be honest with you. Right, that is it then for the review part of the show. Just before we wrap up part 1, the last thing to do is to welcome guest number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the new WBA Super-Lightweight World Champion. It is, of course, Mr. Regis Prograis. Regis, welcome back on the show, my man.
Oh, man, thanks for having me, bro. I'm glad to be back.
It's always a pleasure having you back, Regis. We last spoke back in early March, so not too long ago. But our listeners get to hear your voice every week now on the podcast, the new intro, of course. So thank you for that, I just want to say. There's no real other place to start other than Saturday night. We're speaking on the Monday, just 48 hours ago, pretty much exact, since you was in the ring. Talk us through the performance, Regis. A real impressive performance.
I went out there, I just had fun, man. I was relaxed. I had fun, in the dressing room before the fight. My coach Bobby, he told me, don't go out there, you don't have to get hit, because I was thinking I'm gonna make it a war, I'm gonna make it a battle. But then, I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna get touched, and I don't have to get touched. I just had a real good performance. Everything was flowing right. I felt good. I felt fast. I felt strong. I felt slippery. And I was just very elusive, and I went out there and I just did what I had to do, and I just told people before the fight, there's nothing gonna stop me from getting that belt, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, do you know what? Talking about your elusiveness, your head movement, and just your lateral movement in general was absolutely incredible the other night. Some of the best head movement. You were pulling out Floyd Mayweather moves, and I'm not overstepping the mark. That is what you were doing. It was unbelievable. The first round, Regis, that was where you, of course, forced Relikh to take a knee. It was a bit of a strange one because it seemed like a little bit of a delayed reaction. He actually turned his back and walked away. It was almost as if he was done. What did you initially think when he turned his back like that? It was a left hook to the body, though, right?
Yeah, it was a left to the body. I knew what I hit him with. I knew exactly what I hit him with. I was trying to target it, but I started opening, and I threw it, basically. And I knew once I landed with that it was gonna happen, And after that, he just stayed. He stayed on his wasn't drinking the whole time. He just kept that. He kept his that right elbow tucked in the whole time, so he didn't get hit in it again. But I knew exactly what I hit him with. I think I threw a jab. I slipped something. I threw a jab, and then I slipped the jab, and I threw it. I slipped the right hand or something, and I threw it. Yeah, he threw it right across. I slipped it, hit him in the body, and I knew it was gonna hurt him.
And in that second round, that was where you started busting him up. There was a lot of blood around his nose. Then came that awful punch that Relikh landed after the bell. It seemed to shake you a little bit, Regis. Do you think he meant to do that? Should you have been protecting yourself anyway at all times? What did you make of the whole thing?
Yeah, it's definitely, you always supposed to protect yourself at all times. That was something that I should have did. But, at the end of the day, it's a fight. After the fight, he told my coach, sorry, he told him sorry for throwing that punch, after the bell, because it was after the bell, and he hit me after the bell. It did. It shook me up for about 1 second, And I looked at the referee and was like, all right. Basically, I was just thinking like, all right, watch. It won't happen again. Basically, he had to hit me with it, but it won't happen again, and it didn't.
And you rightly said in the post-fight interview that his losses were close losses, but you dominated him and became the first man to stop him. That win has got people talking about you in the pound-for-pound rankings. Obviously, the pound-for-pound rankings are highly disputed. No one seems to really agree 100% on them. But do you believe that win has at least solidified your position as undoubtedly the best 140 fighter in your weight class?
Definitely. Pound for pound, maybe. I don't know. It's up to the people to put me in pound for pound, but of course, as far as 140, I mean, just look at my resume. I don't think nobody, is better than me right now. I felt like I definitely solidified myself as the best 140-pound fighter right now. So like I said, the pound for pound, that's always debatable, but. Even 140 could be debatable, but at the same time, I think, I showed most of the people, most of the world that, I definitely have to be, right now, I am definitely the best at 140.
I have to agree, to be completely honest, but one man that doesn't agree, Eddie Hearn actually went on record saying that he believes Maurice Hooker is unquestionably the king at 140. What are your thoughts on that statement?
You know what? I mean, that's his promoter. So he's supposed to say that. I think that nobody else believes that. I think, I don't even think, to be honest, Eddie Hearn believes that. He's just saying that, especially after maybe ask him that. I really want to hear what he has to say after Saturday night, what I did Saturday night. Nobody had a performance like that yet against that quality opposition at 140 yet, so. It's cool. They supposed to say that type of stuff, but I feel like I'm still, of course, I feel like I'm still at the top of the throne.
And I don't know if you know this guy, but there's an undefeated guy, also 24-0. I believe he's in the mandatory position for Maurice Hooker, a guy from the UK called Jack Catterall. Have you seen much of him at all, Regis, or not?
I haven't. No, I really haven't.
No, that's fine.
To be honest, I don't. I actually heard of his name. I did hear of his name before, but I never seen him fight. I really don't know who he is.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah.
It's just I just wanted to point it out there. He's about the same sort of height as you. He's also a southpaw. A lot of people over here believe he'll actually probably beat Hooker anyway. But that's a guy. Yeah. That's a guy to look out for. He's sparred. He's been over there. He's sparred Canelo. He's sparred Mayweather. But that's a name that I thought I'd just bring to your attention there momentarily. May 18th, not too long now to wait. Will you be watching from your house, or are you going to be making the long trip over to Scotland? I'm guessing you're probably not doing that.
You know what? I probably go. A lot of people ask me that question, and I think it should be. I think I should go. I've never been to Scotland, so I could definitely use it as a vacation. So I have to take care of a few things here, and then I probably will go. Probably go to Scotland. I
know that the Scottish boxing fans will be delighted to see you. Prepare to get to sign a few gloves and take a few pictures, because they love their boxing over there, Regis.
I already know. Yeah, it'll be a real good. It'll definitely be a real good trip. So yeah, I think most likely I'll be over there. But yeah, like I said, I have some things. I'm actually I'm moving cities and stuff, moving states and cities over here. So I have to take care of some things first before I actually start traveling long again.
Okay. Josh Taylor takes on Ivan Baranchyk. You've told me in the past that this is a real close fight. It's pretty much a 50-50. You said in the post-fight interview once again you didn't really care who wins the fight. You'll gladly fight either of them. But surely, Regis, if I'm pressing you a little bit here, surely you've got some kind of preference as to who you'd prefer to fight.
Yeah, I'd rather fight Josh Taylor. I'd rather fight him. Yeah, if I had a preference to fight somebody, it'll be Josh Taylor, simply because I really think he is the second best at 140. Besides me, he's the best right now. So you won't get this type of opportunity. You're definitely not getting it at 147 right now. You got Terrence Crawford and you got Errol Spence, and you're not getting those. You're not about to get that fight. So you got the two best people in the division, and they're about to fight each other. They have a chance to fight each other. So I definitely think, I'd rather fight Josh Taylor, just because he is he is the next best thing to me, and it'll definitely be a super fight. It could be like a pay-per-view fight, but it's happening. It's about to happen.
Yeah.
It should. Well, of course, he got to get past Baranchyk. So. But, yeah, it should happen.
Yeah, for me that is a pay-per-view fight. I've got to be honest. It really would be the two best in the division. Should Taylor get past Baranchyk, but respect to you, Regis, obviously for wanting to kind of fight the best guys. I really believe you when you say that. I know a lot of people like to say this; they don't really mean it, but I know the way you are, and I really respect that about you.
I definitely, I definitely want. Yeah, I want to fight. I want to fight the best. For me, that's what it's about. It's about the best people fighting the best.
Yeah, that is what the boxing fans like as well, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, you got all these in the different divisions. You got the best people, and they don't end up they don't end up fighting each other and stuff. So now you have at 140 the two best people is definitely, I feel like it definitely is. It's me and Josh Taylor, and we both are in the tournament. We should end up fighting each other. So that's why, like I said, that's why I signed up, and I'm glad that I'm doing it. So, I can't wait. I should go to most likely I'll be in Scotland for the fight.
Okay, and finally, Regis, I just wanted to throw it over to you like I always do. Have you got any closing words for our listeners before we let you go, my friend?
Oh man, thanks for supporting me, bro. I had a wonderful night, real good fight. Everything was perfect, and like I said, hopefully I see people, I see y'all in. The boxing fans out there in Scotland, So I just thank everybody for just keep watching, and like I said, I'm gonna continue to put on a great performance. I'm gonna continue to keep doing my thing, keep doing what I gotta do, and it's gonna just keep going like that.
It's going to just keep going like that. Listen, Regis, I'd like to congratulate you once more on your win. Thank you so much for your time this week, and we'll catch up again very soon.
All right, cool, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, now it's time for part 2 on this week's show. This part, of course, the news part of the show. I'm just going to try to go through what I've got here. Matchroom made a good signing. They've signed lightweight prospect Devin Haney, a man that's been on this show, a real promising prospect, by the way. We've heard all sorts of sparring stories about him. He's actually, I believe, entering some kind of co-promotional agreement. He's got his own Devin Haney Promotions that he's actually had a few cards shown on TV with, so credit to him. He's a young guy. I think he's only still about 19, so real bright future for him. Dave Allen will be taking on David Price following Allen's win the other night over Lucas Brown. Impressive, but interesting fight really, Barry. It's one of those ones where I can just see it 100% ending in a knockout. Is Dave Allen going to walk on to too many clean shots from David Price? He won't be able to eat those uppercuts if Price starts landing the shots that Lucas Brown was landing. But you also kind of think, will the occasion get to Price, and will he end up gassing out after a couple of rounds and end up walking onto an overhand right again?
And that's the problem with David. I think he struggles. He got a problem with his jab. Yeah, he must have a problem with his elbow or his shoulder, because he don't throw that jab with any authority anymore. So he's always, and he knows that when he gets caught, he can get hurt more than most fighters at his height. And listen, they're all big guys, but he knows he's vulnerable around the whiskers. But he can't throw that jab up properly. And there's a problem there, and he knows it. So he always fights like a man with fear. But when you fight with fear, that gives the guy in the opposite corner loads of confidence to walk right through you. And when they've seen fights in your past, so Dave Allen's a tough kid. He's going to try and just charge Price as quick as he can. If Price can get that solid jab working, then he'll knock Dave Allen out walking forward, guaranteed. I guarantee it. But you just tend to think that he can't throw a solid jab, and to throw a right hand from right out, with that size, you'll see it coming, and you'll slip, and you'll catch him with a shot. So I thought I'd never say something like this, but I think Dave Allen might have done a favour against David Price, where it sounds crazy when you think of the pedigree of what Price had and the potential, and where he looked like he was heading early on in his career. The fact that someone like Dave Allen will start a favourite against him, which is quite sad, really. And that's just Dave Allen's fantastic. Really, this is a fight that's been made from Twitter. Let's be honest. He's not a bad fighter now. I'm not saying he's rubbish, but his whole image has been invented through Twitter because he's a funny guy by the sounds of it, and he's charismatic, and he's hard to dislike. He's hard not to like him. He seems like a lovely kid. But he's going to get a shot at something decent, where maybe he's probably not big enough or good enough to really compete at the higher level, but he'll get there through his personality and being well matched with people. Like Lucas Brown was a big win for him, but Lucas Brown is very crude and obviously shop worn as well, and I think that's the same thing with David Price, but there'll be good names on his record. So yeah, I think he starts a favourite. I think every fight with Price now is a worry for him, that he just starts going further down the ladder until he can't really get a fight with anyone anymore worth anything, and he'd be fighting. If he keeps going, if he's getting the fighting prospects who are like 4-0 and things like that, which would break your heart to see someone like David Price of his quality like end up that way. It really would.
Yeah, I agree. I know that Dave Allen started the favourite against Lucas Brown, and Sky Bet, funny enough, are taking bets for Dave Allen to be holding the WBC, WBO, WBA and IBF world titles, all 4 of them by 2020. It's 100-1, Barry, so I don't know if you fancy lumping someone there. Throwing your money away, News, to be honest. Not to disrespect him, but you are, News. It's just ridiculous. He actually came out himself and said that's crazy.
Well, it is crazy. As long as he keeps his expectations on a level head, then I think you'll do fine with his career. But if he starts thinking he's going to be boxing Andy Joshua and winning world titles, then he's going to be in for an upsetting little stage of his career, because I don't think he's going to get that far.
No, I mean, Eddie, I don't want to again go too much on this subject, but Eddie Hearn actually said that he believes Dave Allen against Povetkin would be a war. I mean, I think that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
It is. Listen, Povetkin's not the fighter he was, but he's still a quality operator, and and he showed that against Joshua, in the few rounds. So yeah, I think that's a fight that he wants to stay away from.
Yeah, I agree. But moving on to the next part of the news, Ryan Burnett has joined Top Rank. Interesting move. Obviously, I'm hearing that he's moved up from Bantam to Super Bantam. The obvious fight that you'd look at would be the winner of Isaac Dogbe and Navarrete in their rematch. Perhaps he wants one fight first. He will be having one fight first. He actually fights on May 17th. Is that the undercard of that one? I could be wrong.
No? Ryan Burnett's May 17th in Ulster Hall. That's a part of the deal with NTK, Global and ESPN Plus.
Ah, well, I got it completely wrong.
I know this because I'll be doing the commentary on it. Yeah, so a lot of it seems like a lot of these MTK fighters now are doing deals with co-promotions with Top Rank, and obviously you got Conlon and also Ryan Burnett and Tyson Fury, and I'm not sure if Billy Joe maybe got some sort of deal there. Maybe I'm not quite sure, but there seems to be a lot of co-promotions and links going on now, and it seems to be a weird thing. It's a weird thing because British boxing's booming, but yeah, all our fighters want to go and box in America.
But yeah,
whatever that means. Yeah.
But no, good move there for Top Rank. Obviously, a good fighter. He's fully back in training now, and his fight will be against. He takes on a guy called Helbert Gomera. That one, like I say, May 17th. And the final piece of news, Cody Davies has now signed with Frank Warren. I think Cody had the deal with, was it Haymaker Ringstar before? Obviously a Welsh fighter. You should just fill in the gaps.
Even though he's a Welsh fighter, unfortunately, for my sins, I've lived in England for the last 19 years, so I'm not sure what is he. He's only about 19 himself, isn't he? 20. So I don't know him personally, Cody, but what I know is that he's a talent for sure. And with Gavin Rees, with a wealth of experience in your corner, and also Sam Jones, to be fair, he's managing people. He's brokering deals for some of his fighters. Joe Joyce done a really good job with Joe Joyce, and now he's got Cody with that link up obviously with Joe Joyce and Frank Warren now as well. Also Cody involved as part of that, and it'll help his career and it'll help his profile in the UK for sure, and also help to make some fantastic domestic fights. And that's what, for British boxing fans, that's what we want to see really, as much as we want to see all these fighters go on and win world titles and dominate globally, we want to see domestic bust-ups because that's where you're more invested, and that's where you get bigger crowds in your audience because you have a personal interest in the fighter, and also that pride comes into stake there as well. You know, as much as you want to be the best in the world, you want to be the best in your area, and that's first and foremost. There's no point in being the world champion, but then having the fighters in Britain who can easily argue they're better than you. You want to show you're the best, and then move on. So I think domestic fights is where some of our best known fighters have made their living with domestic matches more than being internationally invested, to be honest. So yeah, I think for Cody Davis, this link up now is I think it's the right move at the right time.
Yeah, for sure. And leaving the news there, moving over to the preview part of the show, not really too much to go over. We're actually going to start in Kinshasa in Congo. A good fight here, though Barry.
Oh.
You're going to like this one, I think. Ilunga Makabu, former opponent of Bellew, fought at Goodison Park, 24-2. He takes on former heavyweight turned cruiserweight Mike Perez, 24-3. With one draw. Interesting. That one's for the WBC Silver Cruiserweight title. Is that the kind of fight that you get intrigued by, Barry? Because that's the kind of fight I look at and think, do you know what? That could be quite special.
It is, especially when Mike Perez is just a stereotypical Cuban. Just absolute bundles full of talent, no application. But if he's done at the right weight, that means he's made an effort. Because he was never a heavyweight, let's be honest. Now maybe he can produce some goods now. I think, hopefully he can. And Makabu obviously is a massive puncher, but also so easy to hit that it's ridiculous. But so I think, he really is, isn't he? So I think it makes it an exciting fight because as Perez, as quite a lot of Cubans are, they're beautifully gifted, but also extremely vulnerable. For whatever reason that is, most of them, not all of them, but most of them are. And I think that's a really good fight, that is, and I bet you that'll be a fight with no TV attached to it. It'll be in the middle of nowhere, no one will be able to see it, and it'll end up being one of those absolute classic fights that no one's ever seen.
Leaving Congo and flying out to Germany. Just a small little card really to mention over here. Anthony Yigit, obviously we've seen him crash out of the World Boxing Super Series. His record 22-1 with one draw. He's just coming back really in an 8-rounder against Sandro Hernandez, 15-7 with 3 draws. Also on that bill, Abbas Barao, 5-0, a good amateur. In his last fight, he got, in my opinion, a questionable win against former world champion Carlos Molina. Abbas Barao is a decent fighter though. I think he's only 23 years of age. Like I say, 5-0. He takes on Ali Funika, who's got a record of 40 wins, 10 losses and 3 draws. So it's another step up there for the young man, Abbas Barao. That's it for that one. Moving out stateside to the Stockton Arena in California, USA. Good couple of fights here. This one on ESPN in the States. Jerwin Ancajas, 30-1 with 2 draws. He puts his IBF World Super-Flyweight title on the line against Ryuichi Funei, who is 31-7. But the more interesting fight for me, for the IBF World Light Heavyweight title, Artur Beterbiev, 13-0, takes on a guy who... I'm not good with the pronunciation here. Radivoj Kaladzic, but to my understanding, the one loss was a very questionable loss to Marcus Brown. His record 24-1, a 12-rounder, of course. Do you know much about this guy, Barry, at all?
No, I don't yet, and that show it's also live on Box Nation in the UK. That fight, and I'll probably be working it. So I haven't really done much research on him yet. Again, he's one of those guys, they just tend to bypass until he gets an opportunity. You don't sort of keep a tab on some of these fighters because you just tend to think, they're boxing in the middle of Europe somewhere, and they're not boxing many people, and obviously you didn't get to see the Brown fight, but as much as there was talk that maybe he was unlucky, because he didn't actually get to see it, you have to take someone else's word for that, which is I'm not always a fan of. But I tend to think that it's all sold on the presence of Beterbiev, making a statement on ESPN, with obviously they have Kovalev as well on that platform, and that's the fight they're looking for, the unification match, I guess. So he has to look good, and I think Beterbiev, he's a beast of a man. But again, out of all of those champions, I know maybe Kovalev probably deemed as the weakest out of all those. two Ukrainians, 2 Russians dominating the light heavyweight division, or 3 Russians, one Ukrainian, I should say. He tends to be maybe the one who's more easier to hit and probably less skilled than all the others. So for me, it's interesting how you dine out on strength, and I think he's had a good apprenticeship. He's had many fights. He booked a couple of former world champions early in his career as well, like 4 and 5 fights. Campiello was one of them, and he dealt with him quite easily. So he's a class operator, but I think this is a fight that I'm sure they're going to give him a massive test. I think it's a world title fight. They want to make him look good to sell the fight with Kovalev. I think that's important. And then they'll give Kovalev what they'll deem, or what they'll see as an easy fight for his next defence. And that might be Anthony Yarde, but they'll still see it as an easy touch, to be honest. And they can't see it any other way, can they? On paper, whether it ends up being a hard fight or not, but on paper like this one, on paper, Beterbiev should be dominant, like Kovalev should be dominant as his on paper, and then that becomes a massive fight for them 2 fighters, somewhere later in the year. So I think, and Top Rank and Bob Arams are still a fan of old-fashioned promoting, where you build up a fighter's profile before you put him in tests, I think. And that's how he does it. That's what he's going to do with Tyson Fury again, which is frustrating for us guys. But I think he's going to do that, build his profile in the States by feeding him fighters. And I think Beterbiev's going to be sort of have that. But Fast Track he's already. I think they're thinking how long's Kovalev's going to last. I think that's where they're banking on. So I think Beterbiev, he's always excited to watch. That's a good thing about him. When we've got a fighter who wants to just. Again, I don't think he's a massive concussive puncher. I don't think he hits you and the lights go out, but he's so heavy-handed that he just knocks you into next week.
Yeah, but no, his opponent here, Radivoj Kaladzik, he's known as Hot Rod. Like I say, 24-1, 17 by knockout. The one loss, as I mentioned, came to Marcus Brown. It was actually on the undercard of Glowacki and Cunningham. It was also the same night and the same card where Errol Spence beat Chris Algieri. So I remember that bill, but I can't really remember this fight. But it ended up being a split.
No, I can. Yeah, I remember the bill.
Yeah, it was a split decision over 8 rounds. We had cards of 74-76, 76-74, and 75-76. Brown was down in round 6, and Kaladzik was down in the first round. So a real close fight by the looks of it. Kaladzik is from Bosnia by way of Florida now.
But to be honest, when you first saw Marcus Brown, I didn't think much of him. To be honest, I think he's improved dramatically. So again, this kid might be good. I haven't seen him yet. I'll do some research on it before the weekend, of course. But it might be a case of that. I think Brown was just a guy who had fast hands, fast feet, that sort of stuff. But he looked vulnerable. Didn't look great to me. He sort of just come on really quickly. I thought I've seen him a few times earlier in the career. I didn't think he was much great shakes. He was one of the guys I thought this guy they're building up was not quite going to make it to the grade. But, sometimes you get it wrong.
Yeah, no, he certainly has impressed lately, but that should be an interesting fight. I've seen a few people on Twitter and stuff, like, real boxing guys from the States that are saying they reckon this guy could actually upset the odds on that fight there. But the final bill to mention, at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, where else to finish? It's going to be on Sky, of course. Let's talk about the undercard first. Just fly through this one. Saddam Ali, former world champion, 27-2. He takes on Anthony Young, 20-2. That one's for the vacant WBC United States silver welterweight title. Also, we've got prospect Lamont Roach, 18-0 with 1 draw. He takes on Jonathan Oquendo for the WBO International and NABO Super-Featherweight title. Also, prospect young guy called Virgil Ortiz Jr. I've heard a lot of good things about him. 12-0. It's a 10-rounder against former... I don't think he actually held a full world title. He was an interim champion, wasn't he? Mauricio Herrera, a guy that's been on the bad end of a few close decisions. 24-8. That's
Danny Garcia was one of them.
I remember that one in Puerto Rico. That was the same bill that
beat him.
For me, he did. That was the same bill that Deontay Wilder beat Malik Scott in a round. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, well you talked to Malik, yeah, of course. I remember. I remember being on the same bill. Ironically, but I just remember Herrera. I thought Herrera beat Garcia that night. He really did.
Yeah. And moving up the card, John Ryder, it was supposed to be against David Lemieux. I've got to be honest, I was a little bit bit happy when that fight didn't happen, to be honest with you, because I think that was a bit, I don't know, I don't want to see John Ryder in there with a man like Lemieux who has got that one-punch knockout power. But he takes on Bilal Akawi, who isn't really known to many people, but 20-0 with one draw. He's based in Australia. I've heard a lot of the Australians saying he's a future world champion for sure. So I'm hoping that John has found out sufficient information before signing to take that, because even though he hasn't got the notice, I think he's kept himself in good nick for a fight he had lined up after or something. So that could be interesting, actually. There.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you with the Lemieux fight for Ryder, because Ryder's a good fighter. He hasn't got the fleet-footedness of obviously Billy Joe Saunders. So stylistically, Lemieux's always a hard fight. And to think Lemieux's past his sell-by date, if that's what you're banking on, then I think you have to be very careful with a guy with that sort of power. Yeah, so I'm not upset that fight's not. I'm not upset that fight's not happening.
Yeah,
I think it would have been a hard ask there for John Ryder.
Yeah, I think. I agree. I think John has done some amazing things. To think he got stopped by Nick Blackwell, and then to have like this 4 or 5 fight run in a row now, where he's gone in multiple 50-50 fights. The Jamie Cox fight, the fight with Patrick Nielsen, who was ranked number one with the WBA. Obviously, the fight last time out, I can't remember who he fought now. It was an undefeated not Kuzmin. That's a heavyweight. Forgot the guy's name, but anyway, he had a few 50-50s in a row, and he's managed to stop multiple guys now. He's had a hard journey, but yeah, even we saw it, didn't we, against Spike O'Sullivan, where Lemieux stopped him in a round, so he's certainly not done. But yeah, this guy, Bilal Akawi, like I say, I'm hearing a lot of good things. I'd love John to do it. It's a brilliant stage. It's a great place to get a brilliant win and get some worldwide recognition. 27-4, John Ryder. That one's for the interim WBA World Super-Middleweight title. But the main event, Barry, Saul Canelo Alvarez, 51-1 with 2 draws, takes on Danny Jacobs, 35-2. They call him the Miracle Man.
Great fight.
They call him the Miracle Man. I mean, if anyone can do it, he can do it.
I think, yeah. Well, I thought he just nicked it against Golovkin when he boxed Golovkin a few years ago, and I thought he boxed brilliantly. I really do, but it's another big test for him. Forget about the fact that it's in Las Vegas, and you just tend to think that can Canelo lose the decision in Las Vegas? Even though I thought Canelo lost the 2 Golovkin fights, I still think he did. I don't think it was still a massive robbery. The second wasn't a massive robbery, but I thought that Golovkin did enough to win it still. He's shown an intelligence I didn't think he had, Canelo. We knew he was good and strong, but I always thought he was always going to be the better, because he was always the naturally bigger or a bit of a bully. And then he could produce the good work, but he came up against a guy who was bigger, hit harder than him, stronger than him in many ways in Golovkin, and he showed some sublime skills, some brilliant boxing techniques, clever moves, setting up attacks. He did everything right, but he did everything that he could do to win that fight. The best he could do, I think he boxed really intelligently, even though I thought he came up a bit short. But obviously never. The judges didn't think that, and I think that, surprisingly, I fancy him big against Jacobs. I really do. I don't think Jacobs is going to be able to dance around like he did against Golovkin. I think Canelo has faster feet than Golovkin. I think his brain works a little bit faster as well, because Golovkin sort of just happily just slowly walks you down and hurts you. But Canelo won't worry, and I've seen that against Golovkin. Canelo won't worry if he can't hurt you. Golovkin will start to panic if he can hurt you, and I don't think Canelo does. He'll just keep working away. You'll work on speed rather than some power if he can't get you out to there. So I think it's going to be a fight where Canelo looks absolutely fantastic. I think it'll be a hard fight to start off with, a cagey fight, because Jacobs is a quality operator. He's clever. He's big for the weight as well, and every punch he throws is solid. But I think Canelo's going to really just show how good he is Saturday night. Really do.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's for Daniel Jacobs' IBF world title, and Saul Canelo Alvarez brings his WBA Super and his WBC. It's a fight.
WBC what? WBC what? What is it? Is he the champion? Is it Diamond? Is it Emiratus title. Just make it up, no, don't they? Just give titles for their fight. I think he has a genuine WBC title.
No, yeah, he's got. He's got
even there.
He's got the genuine WBC title, but I think don't worry, Barry. I think they have brought out a special Cinco de Mayo belt once again for him.
Can I just digress a little bit? We talked about that belt in Wembley, and it didn't get announced, and I'm glad that they pulled the tag away from it. But Daniel Zubara's fight was originally for the WBO Global Heavyweight title.
Oh, yes.
Now sink in. WBO Global Heavyweight Championship. It might have been 10 rounds, I'm not quite sure, but global. Isn't that just a world title? I don't understand what that means.
Yeah, but Barry, what about the people that don't believe that the world's round? They want a flat Earth title as well.
Oh, well, why not? I don't see why you discriminate against people who have idiotic ideas of how the world works.
Exactly.
But they were going to call it a global title. Obviously, saying the heads prevailed, and they went, listen, we can't have that announced. That's just an absolutely ridiculous statement to make. But up until the day, that was the WBO wanted to enforce that, and it's like a competition with these organisations who can be the most idiotic. The WBA being the shining light of idiocy for a few years now. Let's be honest, for the last sort of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years with their super champions, and let's see how many world champions we can get in one organisation. But they're followed by the WBC the WBA again with Luis Ortiz giving him a 6-month drug ban when, what's 6 months going to do to a fighter? They only fight twice a year, English fighters. What's that going to do? You're banned for 6 months. Well, thanks, I'm banned for 6 months. I take all those drugs now in 6 months while I'm banned, and you're not going to test me. And then when I've taken the drugs, you can test me then, and I'll be off them, and I can fight again. So, yeah, sorry, I digressed a bit there, but yeah, the WBC title from the States, which is nice. That he won that by default, I think, Canelo. But he is a fantastic fighter, and he proved to me to be a better fighter than I ever thought he was going to be. I just thought he was a good guy, who was always the bigger, stronger bully. But I think against Golovkin, he showed just brilliantly, beautifully skillful he is, and that's why I think Jacobs is a great fighter. And ironically, I thought Canelo lost the 2 Golovkin fights, and I thought Jacobs won his fight against Golovkin. I fancy Canelo really big in this fight. Really do.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, I know we talk about that Golovkin fight. After that, Danny Jacobs had the win against Luis Arias, who was just too small for him. He didn't look that great, in my opinion, against Selecki, even though he dropped him in the final round, and that's what made the cards quite far apart. And he didn't look that great against Derevianchenko in his very last fight, I've got to be honest. So,
but Derevianchenko is not a bad fighter, actually, though, to be fair. So. Yeah, and I think style-wise it's difficult, but I think I think Jacobs might have just hit that peak.
Yeah,
actually. But listen, he deserves to. In an era where some fighters are getting crazy money for doing very little, he's a guy who, forget about his history of with the cancer and everything else, just his resume in the ring. He deserves a really good payday, and I think this is for him by Saturday night. But this is to beat. I think we saw against with the 2 Golovkin fights, to beat Canelo in Vegas it means you have to put on an absolute masterclass, and I can't see him getting anywhere near that. To be honest, I think he's going to have to fight the fight of his life, and then still have Lady Luck riding on his shoulders. I just can't feel it all.
Yeah, and it's also, like I said, I don't really want to bang on about this too much, but we've seen the judges that have been announced for it, and I mean, that's actually unbelievable. You know about the judges that are judging the fight, Barry, right?
No, it's not Adelaide Bird, is it?
It's the exact same 3 judges for the Golovkin 2 fight, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it Golovkin 1? Let me double check that, actually.
Golovkin 1 is even worse. Well, I wouldn't be shocked. They probably in a WhatsApp group for all of them.
Yeah, you've got Dave Moretti, Glenn Feldman, and Steve Weisfeld. They were definitely for.
Okay.
Was it Golovkin 1 or 2? Let me just double check. It was for.
No, Golovkin 1. It was
Adelaide
I think
Bird.
there was a lady judging Golovkin 1. Yeah,
it was for Golovkin 2. So the exact same 3 judges.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not great.
judging a fight and wrestling a fight, they're very difficult things to do. And a lot of people don't understand actually how you judge a fight, and that's why people go mad about scorecards being that's 117, 111 when it's a close fight, but that doesn't mean anything. I would say to people, listeners, don't worry about this. Don't worry about how someone's won. As long as the right person's got the result. Sometimes the scorecards don't reflect your effort. That's how scoring works. And it's not always fair on the fight that is lost, but you can have 12 close rounds but just lose every round. You know, and people don't see that. When you're watching at home, you just see this is after 8 rounds, you go, oh, this is a close fight. It's 4-4.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, or you'll see, like that, it's very close. It could go either way. But actually, if you score round by round and then put that round in the bin and forget about it, you will find out that's how judge looks at fight. It's not 12. It's not a 12-round fight. It's 12 one-round fights.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it has to be almost like it's a new fight, every single round, and that makes it, judging a fight slightly different. And that's what I try and do. And it's because sometimes you see a guy. I give a round to Khan. I give the second round to Amir Khan the other week.
So did I.
Against Crawford. I give it round, and I said I give it round to Khan, but Crawford looks more comfortable out of the two. He looked like he was in charge, even though he lost the round. And that could be the case. He knew that he just took his foot off the gas and Khan nicked the round off him, but Crawford still looked more comfortable. But if you watch it at home, you're going, God, look, Crawford, he's just playing with him. You forget about he hadn't thrown a punch for 2.5 minutes. Just keep looking at him, he's walking Khan around, Khan looks panicked, and he's throwing for his life. But he still won the round. If you look at it that way, and I think sometimes people can sort of get really critical for judges and referees because of wide scorecards and trainers and all like Twitter, they don't make it any easier by causing controversy and uproar. Going, I can't believe the judges scored this. My fighter lost, okay, they didn't lose by that much. And they know how the fight works, how scoring works, and they just stir in the pot. So I think just as long as the right fighter gets the results, that's what I'd say. But having the same judges of another fight that would involve in a controversial fight with one fighter, then to have them again in another fight just sets up a potential controversial situation if the fight's remotely close, or if people think Jacobs has won but doesn't get the decision, then that's going to be more of a talking point of the judges who were there rather than the fight itself. So why would even from Canelo's point of view, why wouldn't they want, and Nevada State, just get different judges in? They have enough judges. I know they have a roster and probably a rotation system, but for these special occasions and for what's happened in the past, just get 3 different judges who haven't worked on a Canelo fight for the last 2 years and put them in there. And then then you can go, listen, we've got the judges that haven't worked Canelo's fights for a long time, and this is what, or at all. You can find some that haven't worked Canelo fights at all, and you go, there you go. These guys have never worked a Canelo fight at all. They're our judges. We stand by with this, but no, they're well trained, and here we go. But no, they got 3 guys who've worked the fight before, and so Canelo's going to be a whipping boy if there's anything remotely controversial in the fight.
Yeah, it sounds crazy, to be honest with you, but hopefully there is no controversy. Of course, no one wants that, and I agree with you also, Barry. I think it is going to be. I fancy Golovkin. Not Golovkin. I fancy Canelo big. I actually think he could even possibly stop Jacobs late on. That's how big I fancy him. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we see a good fight. It is a unification, so it's the fights that we want to see, and I've got no problem with this one. And that's really about everything, to be completely honest, Barry. Just before we wrap up the show, I just wanted to thank you once again for taking part in this week's podcast. You've bowed me out so many times now. You've done it once again. I really appreciate it, Barry. Thank you so much for joining me once again.
No, mate, Joe, you do a fantastic job. You've got some great guests. I think excluding me. I'm not kind of. No, you some of the guys you get on the phone from around the world, where bigger companies with massive backing can't do it. They can't get the people you've had on your show from day one. Some of these names, some people now who are stars now, who weren't stars when you first started interviewing them. Let's not forget, and people who have bigger podcasts with big vehicles behind them, helping them with their bosses have a massive Rolodex of all these names they can get, and they can't get the names you get. And there's a lot of credit. You take a lot of credit for that. That's a lot of perseverance. Phoning people up, people ignoring you, harassing people on Twitter. But no, you have a reputation where people want to be on your podcast. And so I think you've done a great job, mate. And I'm not stroking the ego. These are just facts. I'm not an arse licker. I've never really been that way, but this is just facts. You do a great job, and and it's a 24-hour job, and you should be getting the plaudits for it, mate. And I genuinely mean that.
I really appreciate those words, Barry. Thank you so much. Like I say, thanks once again for helping me complete this one. It wouldn't have been possible without you. I'm sure the listeners have enjoyed this, listening to us both. Mainly you, because I'm a bit boring, but it's good to hear you once again, Barry. Thanks for that. Right, just before we wrap up part 2, of course, the last thing to do is to welcome our second and final guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the WBO European Super-Featherweight champion. It is, of course, Mr. Archie Sharp. Archie, welcome back on the show.
Thanks for having me back on, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, it's always a pleasure, Arch. So we last spoke back in February. Obviously, at that time, you were forced off the March 8th card at the Royal Albert Hall with that injury. However, like I say, fast forward 6 weeks and you boxed on Saturday at the Wembley Arena show. I didn't see it. Obviously, it wasn't televised. We had Barry Jones on earlier on in the show, and he said that you was able to stop your man with a body shot in the second round. Please talk us through it, though, Archie, if you can.
Yeah, so obviously Saturday, good result. First round, just got back in after the injury, so we just sussed him out, working off the jab. And in the second round, put the right hook to the body, dropped him, pushed on him again with another right hook to the body after the second standing 8. And then, so on the third time I dropped him with a left uppercut to the solar plex and then finished the fight.
And like I say, in British boxing, we all love a rivalry. You had that rivalry with Leon Woodstock. It seemed to end, actually, on October the 6th last year. But I do need to obviously bring up the fact that this guy that you boxed, Sergio Gonzalez, in his last fight, he went the distance with Leon Woodstock. I think Woodstock dropped him in the last round, but you were able to go in there and you made a further statement by stopping him as early as the second round. So just if there was any doubters out there, that was for you lot. Like I said, when you beat Woodstock, Arch, you were ranked number 15th in the world. Then you went down to number 12. Now, number 10. It must feel fantastic to be in the top 10 in the world with a WBO.
Oh, mate, do you know what? I'm over the moon, mate. When I'm looking at the rankings, it's just like I say, I dream of being a world champion as a young kid, and now I'm chasing that dream. And I'm not too far. I'm only a stone away from it, really. 10th in the WBO world ranking, and a couple of more fights, and I'll be fighting for that world title.
And like I say, there's so many guys that you're being linked with at very different levels. Lee Selby, I'm hearing that fight being talked about, obviously a former world champion. Yeah. Sam Bowen, the British champion. Ryan Garcia, again, like I say, completely 3 different levels there. Which of those fights, Archie, or perhaps another fight I haven't mentioned, which of those fights get you excited about most?
Well, they all do, really, because like I say, I'm in this game to be the best in the business, and the thing is, all these fighters I'm going to have to box to be the best, and so all of them get me excited, and I'm looking forward just to getting in there and doing what I've got to do. But yeah, definitely the Lee Selbys and the Ryan Garcias, even the Sam Bowen fight, like I said, they all excite me, and I'm looking forward to just getting into the big fights.
And I believe the Commonwealth champion is still James Tennyson. That's a fight that I haven't really heard mentioned that much, but that's a fight that I like the sound of. Obviously, we mentioned there Sam Bowen's got the British title. A lot of boxers have got that burning desire to become a Commonwealth champion, to become a British champion. Have you got that, Arch, or is it just the big fights really over the belts?
Yeah, no, of course. I want to clear up the whole division. Do you know what I mean? I want to have all the belts. But I'm so when as a kid, I've been so tunnel vision to be the world champion. And like I say, I'm only a stone throw away from it. So I'm just chasing that world title belt. And listen, if I've got to fight them fighters in the meantime, then on the way up there, then that's what's got to be done. You know what I mean? But whatever's in front of me, I'll deal with.
And talking of big fights for you, you mentioned there about a world title fight. I know that you'll have one eye on the winner of Masayuki Ito against Jamel Herring. That one happens on the 25th of this month. A good fight, obviously.
Yeah, of course, good fight. And like I say, if Herring goes and does it, it would be nice to have that world title fight with Herring. That Ito is a good fight. I've been looking at him, studying him. These are the fights that I want. I believe I've got the ability 100% to beat Ito. Just give me a couple of more fights, and get to that level. Do you know what I mean? Getting the cut the 10s and maybe 4 rounder in, and 100% get that on for next year for sure.
Yeah, fingers crossed Jamel Herring does the business, actually, and that'd be a brilliant fight, yourself and Herring. That'd be a dream scenario.
Yeah.
When are you looking to be back out, Arch? Is it July time?
Yeah, July time, mate. I think there's a pencil date in for July, so hopefully July, and then I'll fight someone for the title. I'll also defend my title, and I'll have to have a look as well, because I know there's a fight happening in May between McLeod and Declan Garrity, so maybe the winner of that can put their belt on the line as well as mine, and yeah, and I like to say, I'll just keep laying belts.
Strap season.
Strap season, mate. Come on.
And just before I let you go, Arch, any closing words for yourself, my friend, before we let you go?
Yeah, just want to say thanks to everyone, mate. Do you know what I mean? Thanks to my sponsors, my team for making this happen. All the fans that have come out to watch, buy tickets. I just appreciate all the support, and what I'm doing is good enough for the entertainment, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more. Some big fights to come, and I'll entertain the fans even more.
Well said, my friend. Like I say, I appreciate you giving us some of your time. We've whizzed through that pretty quickly. Congrats once again on your win, Arch, and we'll catch up again sometime soon, all right?
No worries. Thank you very much, brother.
Okay, and this wraps up episode 185 of the BoxHard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey Coastman. I've been joined for the duration of the show by the former WBO Super-Featherweight World Champion, Barry Jones. I'd like to thank our two guests on this week's podcast, the new WBA Super-Lightweight World Champion, the undefeated Mr. Regis Prograis, and of course, the WBO European Super-Featherweight Champion, Mr. Archie Sharp. As for the Prediction League, Ayaz got 2 right on the weekend. He actually picked Prograis to win by a stoppage and Roman to win on points. That happened, so he gained 2 points. And you, the listeners, only got 1 point. It was, of course, with the prediction that Lerone Richards would win on points. So it's back to a tie. It's 96-96. It's still all to play for. There has been some more news that has broken, of course, since recording the show. Of course, you're going to know what it is. It's heavyweight news. Anthony Joshua's next opponent has been named. It will be Andy Ruiz Jr., a man that boxed only 12 days ago. As I said before, I just can't see him being in shape. I don't see him being physically ready for the toughest fight of his career on just 4 weeks' notice, especially after, like I say, fighting just 12 days ago. I think it's pretty outrageous, to be honest. I think the replacement should have been Michael Hunter, but I don't think Joshua's team fancied it. It will need to be a big undercard, surely, because who's really going to stay up and pay pay-per-view for that one against Andy Ruiz Jr.? Obviously, Andy Ruiz lost to Joseph Parker. It was a real close fight. It could have gone either way, but not a lot of people would have seen that fight. I think it was on at something like midday UK time, and for the American boxing fans it was shown about 7 a.m. or something like that in the morning, so not a lot of people actually watched that fight live anyway. Perhaps in the meantime they've watched it back on YouTube, but to lose to Joseph Parker, then we're expecting it to be a big pay-per-view worthy fight. Not for me. The undercard needs to be really, really, really good. The other piece of news is that Joe Joyce will be fighting on the Billy Joe Saunders undercard in Stevenage on May the 18th, so not too long to wait for that one. And he takes on Alexander Ustinov, who's actually coming off the knockout loss to Michael Hunter in Monaco. It is what it is. The Prediction League for this weekend only consists of just the one fight. It is, of course, Canelo versus Jacobs, the big mega fight, Cinco de Mayo. You, the listeners, have gone for Canelo to win on points. Ayaz has also gone for Canelo to win on points. So no matter what happens, next week it will still be a tie between yourself, the listeners, and Ayaz. But it will be interesting, believe me. And again, any punishments for Ayaz, send them in. They can be as bad as you like. Send them in to @BoxHard Podcast on Twitter. Best of luck, like I say, with the predictions. That is about everything for this week's podcast. Thank you all for tuning in and listening. Enjoy your weekends, people, and we shall see you all again next week.